All right, good morning, or shall I say good evening, everyone. I think we're expecting around 20 folks to be present. Will it be okay to wait for a few minutes for those that would come in late? Can you guys give me a thumbs up if that's okay? Let's start at around 8:05. So 4 minutes more to wait for those that would come in late. I'll extend a few more since, as we've experienced last time, there are folks that came in around 10 minutes late. Um, so yeah, uh, let's try to meet at least the 20 participants to join. So let's start at around 8:10. So minutes before we start, anybody had a great day? Can you guys share so us if there's any reason for you to celebrate today? Is there any? By the way, guys, happy Monday. I, I forgot to it's already a Monday, so it seems like weekend goes by so fast that yeah, um it's hard especially for those of you that have been working on the weekend, when it comes to Monday, right? Is anyone here working on a weekend? There, happy Monday, Ernesto.
Yes, good evening.
How was your day?
Uh, Tiring day since I used to uh get my kids from school uh after the school.
Oh, you're just going to fetch them after the session?
Yes.
That's late. Are
Uh
they in grade school or high school?
uh High school. We're living in Makati but they're schooling at Mandaluyong.
Right. Oh, well, why would they? Why did you choose to have them study in Mandaluyong? I think in Makati it's free, right?
Yes. Because we used to live in Mandaluyong before pandemic. And we have a small drugstore here in Makati.
All right. Thank you, Ernesto, for sharing some information about yourself today, and hope that you have a great time fetching your kids from school, and also finishing up this session, because this will actually one of our final sessions as we progress your careers forward. The reason being is because I will now give you the tips and tricks on how to answer the interviews, basically preparing you for your eventual interview schedules with a respective employer, and how to answer the recruiters and the hiring managers that will have a conversation with you guys about, of course, about you yourself, as we mentioned on the um, last session. It's about all about you. It's the employers wanted to know more about your personality, if you're going to fit for the company, right? If you remember, there's three key things that they are looking for in order for them to give you that yes, that sweet yes of success. Char. For today's sessions, it's actually target setting. So remember when I gave you the assignment or the homework, so find the companies that you want to join. This is a culmination of all those activities, because once you get a schedule for an interview, you have to know how to work around the interview and how to get hired fast and efficiently, because there's a lot of companies that will try to offer you opportunities, but as we've discussed during the last session, you also have to meet all those three requirements, or three key things that both of you, both the company and yourself, should meet, right? You should meet halfway. It's a two-way street. Therefore, to give you a better fighting chance to get hired, and also to um, go through all those obstacles during the hiring process, I'll give you tips and some tricks on how to navigate the situations. Of course, we'll start with the five tips, because it's quite few, and I hope that you can relate. The first one being is research the company. As I told you earlier, the reason why we gave you the assignment of knowing more about the companies that you want to join is because it's very important for you to know what you're getting yourself into. Basically, if your needs, you have needs, right? Of course, you're looking for a job, an opportunity, and I doubt that if you're already loaded, as we say, or burgis ka na, I don't think that you're still going to look for an opportunity outside of what you're currently doing, right? The foremost reason why we research about the companies is to know more about one, their culture. So their pay, is it competitive? And three, do they meet your qualifications as a person to fulfill you, to stay with them for a very long time, right? That's the foremost reason, because it's to give you an insight, guys, it's harder and it's much cheaper to retain talents instead of letting them go. Bakit? Kasi mas mahal po ang bayad sa pag-hire. The current average here in the Philippines, actually in the US pa lang. In the US, it's actually $500 to hire one person to fill one position. Imagine, $500 is how much? That's times 50 to pesos. That's around 27,000 already. Isang pasahod na 'yon. 'Di ba? It's harder and it's much easier to retain talents. That's why if the company that you wanted to join during the homework session is not keeping their talents well enough, then it means something. It's either the culture is horrid, borderline, they cannot keep companies, or they cannot keep their employees within a company. So they don't give you the right compensation. Is it the competitiveness in terms of the market, as well as the benefits that usually you guys should receive. And lastly, of course, the actual culture of the department and the team that you will be working for. And that last one, you can only know once you get into the interview, because most of the time, it's actually the hiring managers and even the recruiters that will tell you themselves what is it like to work for the company. It's very important for you to know. Sabi nga ni Ka Ernie Baron, lamang ang may alam. Second is, of course, you have to practice your answers. This is quite significant, especially during this day and age that all of the answers are already there. It's outside of of everyone. It's already um rampant in the internet to get all the answers to each interview questions, because they are most likely repeating, right? Have any one of you um experienced being interviewed and specifically the recruiter asked you about yourself, in the words of tell me about yourself? Meron ba? Taas ang kamay. Meron bang na-interview ng ganyan ng tanong sa una? Most likely, right? There's there's a lot likelihood that you were asked, tell me about yourself, as the first question of the recruiters. The reason being is because it's actually an icebreaker. What do we mean by an icebreaker? It's actually meant for us to know about you as a person. Basically, we just wanted you to feel relaxed and give an insight, a short insight about yourself. So basically, it's easier for us to navigate the situation, right? If you weren't able to tell us about yourself, that's already a good indication that you will not get through the interview. So it's really a matter of learning how to answer, tell me about yourself, as the first thing to know during the interviews. That's also one of the reasons why we focus on personal branding in the last session. Because if you know yourself, it's easier for you to uh to tell a story or a narrative about yourself. Treat it like uh like a biographic of you, your story, your mission in life, your vision, your hobbies, your achievements, most importantly, as well as short description of your experiences. That's all of the things we need when we ask you about tell me about yourself. Also, there are instances that the recruiters will somewhat ask you the same question but delivered differently. Uh, May iba diyan magtatanong muna, "How are you?" Just like I did during, the first few minutes of our session, right? "How are you? Did something go well, today?" So we wanted to know. We're trying to make you comfortable at the same time for you to start off, um, giving us information about yourself and if you're going to fit, the job description of the position that we're hiring for. And since I remember that some of you are already working or have been actively applying, can someone uh, raise your hand if you're willing uh, to share with us how you answered that first question, which is tell me about yourself. Ayan. To give us a short insight of how you did it during the interview. Did someone? No, there's no right or wrong answers, guys. Ayan, wala. Okay, sige. Magtatawag tayo. Because we wanted to know how they answered this first question. Para meron tayong ano. Ayan. Let's go with ano. Let's go with Mark Neil Tolentino. Hello, Mark. Are you there? Okay, wala si Mark. Sige, tawag tayo ng isa pa. We have Paul Franco.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Hi, Paul. Yeah. Yun. Sabi ni Mark, di pa daw siya nakapag-interview. So this will be the first time, right? So good thing that you told us. We're specifically looking for folks that have been interviewed, right, Paul? Have you been to an interview? Have you applied for any positions before?
Yes, sir, but that was 5 years ago when I was started finding job. And actually I really no, para I just introduced myself, and then my degree, and then my the thesis that we worked on. But
Right, at least you were able to tell them something, right? It
uh,
starts off with a conversation.
parang nakalimutan ko
This
na ata yung
years
iba.
ago.
Yes, 5 years ago. Parang di pa ako nakapag-attend ng interview ulit.
Alright. Ayan, di ba pagka 5 years ago, the very first thing that you'll realize if you're going to look for another job is paano sasagot ulit sa interview. Kasi usually, of course, it's going to be in English, right? Have you been rattled before, Paul? Have you experienced during those times, 5 years, if you can remember, have you experienced feeling anxious during the interview, to borderline na nanginginig kang sumagot?
Opo, sir. Lalo na kung yung mga questions is parang biglaan, hindi mo na pag-practicean. Ganun po.
Right. Ayan. So that's why yun sabi nga ni Paul, that's why we try our best to prepare everyone for the interview because there are questions that you would not expect they would ask really. And actually a good thing. It's a good job by the recruiter if they're going to ask questions that aren't typically asked by by somebody, right? Because it gets the candidates riled up, and we know for a fact that it's one test. If you're rattled, then what would happen during the time that you experienced being on that same situation while working for the company, right? That's one telltale sign for us to fail a candidate if that's the case. That's the reason why you have to practice your answers. The questions are already out there, and the answers as well to those specific questions are significantly uh, rampant in the internet. So you guys can take a look and listen to most of those ideas. Later on, as we progress, I'll give you the examples of those questions and also how you would answer them. I'll also give a summary of how you can easily remember how to answer those questions. But for now, my best advice is for you guys. So, one, again, research about the company that you wanted to work for and have submitted as an application. Second one would be to practice your answers on commonly asked questions, just like the one we've discussed a few seconds ago, right? And the third is, of course, you have to do an outfit check. Aminin man natin hindi, people are mostly inclined to look at how you dress. That's the reason why we try to make an impression in the first few minutes, because it gives us an opportunity to know who are you as a person by how you dress. Have you prepared for the interview? Is it a formal setting that they specifically require you to wear a formal attire? If that's the case, then if you're wearing jeans, a shirt, and rubber shoes, then definitely you have already failed the first task. Usually, the recruiters, when they send you an interview, they would require you uh, to either, if it's physical, if it's on site, they would require you a certain level of dress code if you're going to their respective offices. The reason being is because one, it's company mandate for you to wear that type of uniform, let's say. Two, it's also a way for us to tell if you're really serious about the opportunity because you took the time and effort to dress up, and that gives us a story that we can jot down on our notes because yun nga, hindi maiiwasan na tingnan tayo physically. Uh, yes, I know some of you would say that hindi pa parang ano yun, hindi pa parang contradicting yun from what you guys from HR should be doing. Yes, it is. We try to avoid it as much as possible. However, there are companies out there that is not as forgiving or more open to change, just like us in the BPO industry, because they have been doing the same stuff for quite a long time. So that's the reason bakit ayaw na nila magbago. If everybody's wearing corporate attire, then they expect the applicants to wear corporate attire as well. Do not ever go into an interview if they specifically require you to wear something that they mentioned in the email. It will just go badly. I mean, wag makulit. Parang hindi mo naman kailangan i-break yung ganong rule eh. So you just wanted to be more comfortable, I know. But if the company requires this, you really have to do it. And because of that, you have to make sure that you focus on the email that they are going to send you, the email, the phone call, and also the text message that they're going to send you. Because most of the time, those information are already there. You just have to read. And part one would be asking questions. Bakit? Ayan, dyan papasok yung culmination of everything. How to ask, since kanina, sabi nga natin, syempre, merong iba dyan na mas gusto yung comfortable attire. That's also one of the reasons why you have to follow the rules. And then, after which, pagka during the interviews na, you can ask a question. Why is it that applicants or employees are mandated to wear corporate attire? That's one good way to gauge if you're going to fit the organization. Because if you're not willing uh, to dress or to follow the dress code or dress in in a uniform type of way, then definitely it's not going to be easy for you if you join the company. Also, during the interview, it's a perfect time for you to know more about the people that you will be working alongside with, and also those that are supporting you. Since recruiters are also part of the HR department, it's already a good sign for you to ask those kind of questions because we know what's happening within the organization and the reason why the position is vacant. And I think some of you have already um, seen some of the interviews or tips from multiple creators in social media telling us about asking questions. And one of the reasons why we encourage you to ask questions is because one, it gives us uh, a gauge of how creative you are in terms of asking questions. Because if you were able to give us a good question, um, and definitely we will also give you a good answer, right? 'Di ba sabi nga ni Paul kanina, taken by surprise. So that's the reason why that you're giving out a different answer to the question. That's what we're trying to avoid. That's also the reason why we try to ask you a question that you're not aware of. Kasi pagka napunta ka na dun sa point na hindi mo alam yung isasagot, 'di ba? Of course, you're going to come up with a story or something that you're not aware of. And that's a good indicator for us to gauge your creativity as well as your mental capacity to think ahead and think clearly in the midst of the situation. Ayan. And also, our fifth tip is of course follow up. You have to know that the recruiters, the hiring managers, will eventually, of course, interview a lot more of candidates. So for you to stand out, you have to follow up. You need to send your recruiter and also your hiring manager a short email about acknowledging the interview that has taken place. Tell them that you've enjoyed the conversation and that you want and that you're really looking forward to work for the company. Thank you for the information and whatnot. That's all of the things that we need to hear by the end of the day. Imagine, during my experience as a recruiter before, interviewing a lot of people, a simple thank you is really appreciated and it will give you an opportunity to know more about your recruiter and also a possibility that if in case you fail the interview or is not a perfect fit as of this moment, then definitely creating a connection with your recruiter would alleviate those kind of situations for the future. Because since you know them already, at least on a personal standpoint, they can vouch for another interview on another position, basically giving you more opportunity to take on a role within the company. Trust me, they can do that. We've done it before and we've done it many, many times in the BPO industry because we really appreciate being appreciated. Just like you guys, diba? Pag may nag-thank you, of course, we feel appreciated and valued. That's why you will gain a buy-in from your recruiters kasi you'll stick into our memories. Basically, magkakaroon na kami ng ng recall of who you are as a person. Is a very accommodating person and is a good candidate for another position perhaps. Or kaya pwede ka rin i-bring up yan sa mga hiring managers because there's a lot of sequences when it comes to the interview process. One, the initial interview over the phone, right? For to know a little something about yourself and also your work experiences, right? And then after which, if they think that you have qualified for the position during the initial interview, they will then progress to the second interview, which is either on site or via WebEx um, Zoom, Teams, uh, or mail for an appointment on a much more formal interview. And because of those uh, because of what you did, appreciating someone, then it will in turn give you a better possibility of getting hired because you stood out of the crowd and you were able to gain some space within our coconut shells to remember you and endorse you to the next steps. All right, before we proceed, I want you guys to really uh, ask the questions that you would want during an interview. Uh, do any one of you uh, feel that during the interview, you wanted to ask a question that usually the recruiters doesn't want to um, answer, or perhaps a question or a statement that you would like to be validated? Because I know some of you have already applied. So, meron dyan iba na nag-iisip na tama ba yung sinabi ko during those, ano, syempre 'di ba may question that have been asked, right? Maaalala mo yung mga notable questions that you weren't prepared to answer. So, is any one of you willing to share about that story? Yung tinanong ka, ano yung favorite mong number ng electric fan, ganyan. Tapos sinagot mo naman. Kung gano'n, tama naman na sumagot ka. Pero, it's a joke usually. Meron ba? Okay, tatawag ulit ako. Manghula ko sinong na-interview na before. Let's have, um, siguro si ano, Philven Pelador.
Good evening po. Hello.
Hi, Philven. Yeah. Have you been interviewed before?
Yes, siguro mga 10 years ago o mga 15 years ago na. Gano'n na katagal.
Grabe, tagal na.
Kasi,
So,
I just resigned last, 2 years ago. So, yung first, job ko noon is 2007. So, mga gano'n pang panahon.
2007 pa, medyo matagal na.
Tagal
So,
na.
meron bang notable question that you've been asked during the interview na hanggang ngayon naalala mo pa rin?
Well, dahil sa ako ay nasa province galing, one of the questions na hindi ko makakalimutan is yung, pina-pronounce ako ng 1 to 20. So, yun medyo hindi ko alam kung bakit, siguro dahil nga, pansin yung aking pagiging probinsyano. So, yun po.
'Di ba? Kakaibang gauge to know about your accent. Usually that's what they're trying to look for. So, ah, ano yun? Anong bansa yun? Sinabi mo Italy ba?
No, no, dito lang din sa Pilipinas.
Right. Parang ano, parang out of the blue 'no, bigla kang pinagbilang ng 1 to 20 just to during an interview parang nakakailang, 'di ba?
Opo.
Ah, Good that you were able to recall that situation. So, on that instance, is it something that got you into the team when you answered uh, the question? Is it something that you feel uh, give you the opportunity to be hired?
Um, Actually that company hindi ko tinuloy yung company na yon. But it helps 'no, because parang na-notice ko din yung aking, accent is, prob talaga. So that's it. So parang Parang that's a caution for me that every interview I should have to remember that moment. So makakapag-proceed ako ng good uh, good interview.
Right. And if that's the case, Phil, then do you think that during the next time that you will be interviewed, you will answer it differently?
Come again? Come again? Sorry. Choppy po.
What? Sorry. Am I coming in or out? Is it me or ano? You guys are experiencing the same. Is it my internet connection?
Maybe it's an internet connection. Kasi nasa Mindanao and parang late yata yung dating.
Ah, that's fine. That's fine, Phil. Then. Do you think next time na may interview ko ulit noon, how do you think you would make an impression when you're asked of the same question? Sa tingin mo, how will you answer it differently?
I don't know, maybe galingan ko na lang sa pag-pronounce next time or I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Well, 'di ba, it's a learning opportunity. So that's one of the reasons why you continue being interviewed. Thank you, by the way, Philvin, for sharing that one. That's why when getting interviewed, guys, don't feel the shame of failing the interview because one, di ka naman masyadong kilala ng recruiter, di ka naman niya yung pagkakalat kung anong sabihin mo during the interview. So it's better for you to learn on those kind of situations. But of course, it could have been mitigated if you were able to practice your answers, just like the tip that I gave you. Tip number two that I gave you.
Okay, thank you.
I expect the unexpected, basically. Thank you, Philbin.
Thank
All right, moving forward to our next topic is actually to give you a gauge of what will be uh, the interviews most likely going to be about. One of which will be skills. Of course, you guys are being hired for a position that requires a certain skill set. Siyempre, pagka, kunwari, ang position that you're applying for would be a construction worker. The first thing that they are trying to look for is if you have the skills to construct anything. Is it specific to something? 'Di ba? Nakapagpalitada ka na ba? Of course. That's one of the reasons why they are trying to know more about your skills. And in here, in this guide, I already gave you the possible question about the skills that might be asked by the recruiters. Medyo mag-iiba-iba lang yan in terms of delivery, but most of the time, it will sound almost the same. Ito, here in our example, uh, it says that as part of an early or a yearly competition, you have been asked to work on a complex task in the area of, in this case, since you're from QAON, of QA. The solution must create value for the clients and the organization. Tell us about the approach you would take. And ito, ang shortcut for you guys. The way for you to answer these questions is for you to remember the problem statement. Ano yung problem statement? It's more about the skills. What were the solutions that you came up with to address the situation that they are asking? And lastly, of course, the results that they have brought because of you. Did they meet a certain requirement? Did they uh, Did they meet the target? Did they meet their SLAs and KPIs? That's the reason why you need to tell them about first is the problem statement. Parang repeat mo lang, what's the question? Ah, ito yung question. And then, come up with the solution that you were able to bring in during the past time uh, that you were working for the same position, and then of course the results that you have brought for the team and the company when you did it. Yung sample answer dyan is, in this scenario, I remember a time when I experienced the same complex task given to me in the area of QA, di ba? Ayun, yung first part natin is review the problem statement. In this scenario, I remember a time, di ba? Problem statement. You recite again what was the problem of the question that is being asked. And then you show the result or the solution. I was able to showcase your solution, my skills by providing automations and problem solving for the team. The way I did it was, yan ang solution mo. The way I did it was to implement a new uh, a, a new vendor for us to use. For example, if it's something that is for project management, then you introduce a tool for project management. Tapos lastly, of course, where it garnered X and Y results. Results. Because at the end of the day, the results that you were able to produce are the most important and vital part of being part of the company. Di ba? Sobrang laking parte nun sa ah, pag-hire sa'yo dahil ah, ito na yung nagda-drive ng profit eh. The reason why companies are hiring for a specific person is because they wanted to drive uh, or they wanted to solve a problem by having someone make a solution and produce results. Kaya problem, solution, results. Next is innovation. Usually, it's asked by companies that are really in the forefront of um, tech. That's the reason why innovation is usually asked for everyone. Your team, example natin dito is your team has been working on an innovative solution for a few weeks, and one of your clients has offered to prototype the solution. Testing has shown the solution does not work as intended. Most of the team wants to abandon the solution, but you see promise in it. What would you do? Babalik tayo dun sa PSR, Problem Solution Results. If you look at the sample answer, uh, the person is telling them that when I work for a specific company, you try to remember. I remember a scenario wherein I was put on the same difficult situation wherein testing did not show the results that I intended. While there are difficulties for this situation, I thought there should be a better way and proposed blank and blank as immediate solutions that may be further improved. I've also rallied the team to support the cause by giving them blank and blank. Again, problem, solution, results. Because you were able to bring in a difficult situation into an actual better process, you also address another problem wherein the team was not able to meet the requirement. Therefore, by rallying the team to know more about the process that you've created, you were able to give them something. Again, the answer to innovation type of questions is if you state the problem again and then make a solution or bring in the solution that you were able to think about last time that you've experienced it, and also the results that you were able to garner. Ayan, do we have questions about the first two items that is commonly asked during an interview? Please raise your hand or forever. uh, be quiet. Charot. Questions, guys? Feel free to ask. There's no right or wrong questions, guys. Feel free to ask kasi this is a perfect opportunity for you to know how to answer those interviews.
Hello po, question po. Rinig po.
Hi. Hello. Hi, Rachel.
Ayan po, about sa skills, sir. Example po kasi, bago lang po kami like sa QA, ganun po. Yan yung mga napag-aralan po namin skills is bago lang po sa amin. Paano po kayo expectation ng employer about sa skills? Mga ganun po sa amin po.
The first thing that they would ask is if you were able to encounter the same kind of situations. Basically, for QA is of course auditing. Have you experienced auditing an item before? Di ba? Situational question kagad siya about your skill. Were you able to showcase some QA skills that is needed? Basically, one of the skills that are needed is auditing, right? Making sure that the process was done correctly. You audit how the process went. So have you experienced a time wherein you experience the same type of skill being showcased? So kung wala, kung hindi ka pa nakapagtrabaho before, ang una mong dapat isipin is, was there a time in my life that I checked, double checked, and triple checked a thing or a process um, that I was able to identify the faults, 'di ba? Gano'n yung dapat na masagot mo. If you don't have the same experiences or wala ka talaga experience at all, you have to relate something in your life that is significant or closely related to the skill set that they're actually pinpointing. In this case, yung example ko is auditing, right? So was there a time that you were able to audit something in your life? Sige nga, let's try Brando. What will be your answer?
Hello, good evening. Rinig po ako.
Yes, yes.
Audit, ah, hindi ko alam paano sagutin. Did I ever audit in one? So far
Eh, di
wala.
ba? Pinapaikot-ikot ko kayo from Rangel tas si Brando para
Oo.
nabibigla kayo sa pagsagot.
Hindi naman sa nabigla, pero so far wala pa akong na-audit. Ako yung ino-audit, pero never pa ako nag-try na mag-audit.
Ayun, so you have to tell me a story na kung ano yung na-experience mo during the audit kasi that's already one experience
Mhm.
on your own that you were able to be audited. So mahambing mo na siya. Alam mo yun, if they're going to ask you about a time in your life that uh you were exposed to auditing, you have to tell them. Kasi kung wala, you have to tell them anyway. You have to best foot forward nga eh. You're not lying. It's just more on correlating. Ano ba yung mga example diyan na maganda? Katulad nung nung sinabi kanina, 'di ba? Was able to showcase my skills by providing something that will address the situation. So, isip tayo ng situation that you were asked to do outside of auditing. Kunwari hindi QA. Kunwari ang ina-applyan nyo ay maging ano ba yung mostly related? Sige nga magbigay ka nga si Rangel ulit. Rangel,
Yes, sir.
bigay ka ng example ah, ng skill.
Soft, sir, or hard skills po ba?
Hard.
Hard skill like computer literate po. Tapos,
Ayan, sige.
actual
Mag-umpisa tayo
requirements.
dun sa
So, sa hardware
sa
po, hardware po, pagkukumpuni ng computer, ganun sir.
oo,
Sample.
sige mag-umpisa tayo sa sa pinaka-basic lalo na pagka walang experience.
Yes po.
One thing that that the recruiters will ask about your skills is if you're knowledgeable in using Microsoft Office tools. 'Di ba? Have you experienced a time where you used Microsoft Office? Yes or no? Guys, meron ba? You can use the chat, guys, ha. Meron bang time that you were able to use Microsoft Office? Yan, mostly everybody, right? So how will you correlate that to the question? The first thing that you have to do is you recite again the problem. Ang question sa'yo is, was there a time that you were able to use Microsoft Office? Then, ang sagot mo parang ganito. Problem, magsisimula ka sa problem. Restate the problem statement. There was a time in my life that I was able to get exposed to using Microsoft Office tools, particularly PowerPoint presentations. Yan. I was actually able to showcase my skills. Ito na yung solution mo, my skills in creating a good PowerPoint presentation for our team members when I was in school. As a result, we were given a better grade in one of our class. Di ba? Ganun yung pagsagot ng interview. You have to recite the problem since it will give you time to think about the solution that you were able to experience before and then give out the results. And in this case, di ba, mapapansin nyo, laging nagsisimula sa I remember a time. Ito na, dyan na papasok yung solution. You reciting the problem is remembering a time in your life wherein you were able to experience the same scenario and then I was able to showcase ito na yung solution, ikaw na yung ah, gumawa ng paraan or ikaw yung gumagamit ng actual tool. And lastly, the results that you were able to give to someone that is in need, right? So with that being said, Brando, since may nabigyan na tayo ng multiple examples, if I'm going to ask you this question, how would you answer? So for example, here's a question. The recruiter will ask you about, have you ever experienced uh, teaching someone how to make the television work? Sige nga, let's try.
So the problem is
The problem is telling someone how to fix the television.
um so the problem is that telling someone how to make the television work. First,
Correct.
first the solution will be explaining him or to her how to set up the television and
Hindi, wait lang.
connecting.
Answer it just like you're answering the interview. So, say for example, ako yung recruiter and I ask you, was there a time that uh, that you experience someone with no knowledge about television ask you to fix it for him?
Yes, sir. Hello. Yes, sir. I have an experience teaching someone how to make the television by explaining him or to her on how to set up the television first, connecting various devices such as cables or in streaming devices. Also, navigating through the menus, adjusting the settings, and also troubleshooting common issues and more. Um, Yun. Yun lang siguro.
Kulang pa. As a result,
As a result, as the result, the person that I explained how to set up the television, he or her can now turn on or make the television work. Yun, tama ba yun?
feels and feels really thankful for you and your health, right? So tama, nakuha mo na kung paano sumagot na interview. First, you restate the problem statement, which is the question being asked. 'Di ba? Kanina sabi mo, ano nga po ulit yung question? Hindi, wag kang sasagot ng gano'n. Tutuloy mo kaagad. There was actually, gano'n ka, there was actually a time, tapos recite mo yung question ulit, wherein I helped someone to fix their television. Uh, I was able to help him fix his television by first telling him how the television works. Is a plug connected? Is it connected to the internet or whatnot? Right? And once he was able to know that these plugs needed to be in their respective sockets, he was then able to turn on the television. As a result, my friend was really thankful of the help I gave him. Diba? Problem, solution, the results. Ayan. So I hope you guys are getting the point of making it shorter for the interviews, because there's a lot more of topics that will be discussed during those times that you should know. And it's always going to revolve around you giving them the problem statement, making sure that you're aware of what they're asking, the solution, the one that is correlated to your situation if you weren't able to experience it before, and lastly, of course, the results that you were able to garner during those time and period that you were experiencing the same thing. Ayan. So, pupunta tayo sa third one. It's expertise. How efficient or how much you were able to experience the same thing or the task that you were doing. In this example, it says, a colleague from another department has come to you for guidance on a project because of your expertise in auditing as a QA. How would you go about helping this person develop and be more effective? Ayan, babalik tayo sa problem, solution, results. When a coworker reached out to me regarding auditing and compliance topics, I first made sure that he or she is well acquainted with the problem at hand. Ano ba yung problema with QA and compliance? And make sure that he or she is well acquainted with the problem at hand, and if she possesses the right skills in order to achieve a sound resolution. From there, I would have advised to read and watch as our first order to eventually resolve the rest of the problem. Ayan. So, ibig sabihin, he was able to, or we were able to get the coworker contemplate about the situation, and that's our first solution. If he or she was able to or knows about audit and compliance. And with that being said, sinabi niya na, from there, I would have advised to read kung hindi, di ba? Or kunwari konti. Would have advised to read and watch a lot of videos to learn more about the topic so that you can resolve the problem. Again, the problem here is not you. It's about a colleague asking or seeking expertise uh, on a specific topic. From there, we're able to give them a pointer of where to go to. The reason why I chose this answer is because we don't want to give or do the actual work of our colleague. We want them to know that how to resolve a problem on their own so that in the future, they won't ask it again. Telltale sign na you are already an expert on what you're currently doing because you know where to get those resources that is related to the point or the problem that you are trying to solve. Sabi nga, 'di ba, a problem identified is a problem halfway solved. Naka 50% ka na kaagad ng pagsagot sa problema. Ayan. So that's number three. Number four, client relationship. Of course, we have clients, they pay us to do a specific task. You have to remember that you need just to correlate the situation. So kung wala kang kliyente before, wala kang ano, I'm sure you have experienced some way or the other to sell a product. Usually, that's also the case with clients. 'Di ba? You have to sell them an opportunity. Ganyan yun from time to time. But in this case, yung question natin in relation is, the question is, you are partnering with a client who has a specific vision for the solution you are working to deliver. On similar or prior solutions, however, many of their recommendations have proven unsuccessful. How would you approach this situation? Basically, you know that a client solution will not reach its fruition because you already know the process and it will not be delivered just like what they expect it to. So, ang sagot mo dyan is there was a time wherein one of my clients requested for a solution that I already knew. The results would be the first thing I did back then was to explain the previous scenario that yielded 0 and around 20% of results. This way, they can hopefully understand the effects of their proposal. However, even with the setback, I still catered the idea and looked for an opportunity wherein I could include and incorporate the suggestion. Again, yung problem statement, the time when wherein the clients are trying to give you a task that you know will fail. As a solution, you show them the results of your previous iteration of the same thing that they are trying to bring up. And the result is they now know how how it works and what would be the setbacks if in case they wanted to proceed. Again, the problem, the solution, and the results. Ibahin naman natin yung mas madaling analogy. For client relationship, say for example, you're trying to sell uh, a piece of candy wrapper to your friend. How will you sell the client, the candy to your friend? Uh, by say for example, you only have one piece of candy and you wanted to sell it for around 5 pesos. How will you sell it to your friend knowing that the candy is not worth 5 pesos? Sige nga, ano, let's have an example. Let's have Charles Valero. Charles? Ayan, parang wala si Charles. Let's move on to Anthony Assis. Anthony, are you there? Ayan, wala. Sige nga, let's try, ano, saan pa ba? Ah, okay, let's have, ayan, naka-transit daw siya. Let's have, Mark Neil Tolentino. Kung ayos na yung mic ni Mark. Tama ba? Si Mark ba yan? Mark, are you there? Okay, wala si Mark. Sige. Moving forward to another person. Let's have BJ Paharilyaga. Hello, BJ. Are you there? Ayan, walang ano. Okay, sige. May nag-raise na ng hand. Hello, Marjorie.
Hi, good evening. Try ko lang.
Ayan, sige, go.
Yes. Here's how I might approach it. Hey, I have this amazing candy that is absolutely delicious, and it's going for a special price for just 5 pesos today. This candy is so worth it because it's made with a high quality ingredients, and I know how much you enjoy sweet treats. It's a great deal for such a tasty and satisfying snack. Trust me, you won't regret it. It's like that. So, ayun.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's actually a good start because you already know how to sell the product, right? Now, if in any case, how will you tell it to the recruiter na you've experienced the same situation? Say for example, a recruiter asks you, March, uh, was there a time that uh, you sold 5 peso candy to a friend while knowing that it's only worth 1 peso? So how will you answer that? Say for example, I'm the recruiter. Tapos ano, fill it in using PSR or problem solution results.
Okay. There was a time when my um sino there was a time when my teacher asked me to sell um candies that is worth um 1 peso, and she asked me to sell it for 5 pesos. And then I encouraged my friends and my classmates to buy those candies, and I was able to sell most of the candies, but not all. And my te- and as a result, my teacher is happy. That's it.
Correct, 'di ba? Ganun lang. You construct your sentences based on our PSR. So problem, you recite the problem statement again, and then you provide the solution. In this case, Marge sold it to her classmates, and as a result, her teacher was able to be satisfied of of be all those candies being sold, 'di ba? Hindi po 'yan tinatanong sa interview, guys, ha. Tigilan niyo ako, baka sabihin niyo, "Ganyan ba yung mga tanong sa interview?" No, we're trying to make it much more easier for you guys so that you'll eventually get used to using the formula, which is problem, solution, results when constructing an answer during the interview. Remember, all of those questions that you have watched in the internet or have heard or have read might not be the same question that may be asked during the interview. That's the reason why it's easier for you to get used on the format, the formula already. It's already there. It's just reciting the problem again, correlating it to a past experience, and providing the solution that you've did before and the results that you were able to garner. Ayan. So very good, Marge, by raising your hand and ano, opting to have an example. So that's a good indicator that you have a better chance of getting employed since you are now getting the point of using our formula. Ayan. Moving forward, leadership naman, especially for those that are currently working, wanted to band up or level up their careers. Leadership questions usually are situational, so there are a lot of cases that this may be asked on a different tone. In this example that I gave, question goes like this: there's a new person on your team who is less experienced than you are. They are taking the lead on a project but are having a difficult time getting started. There is a tight deadline for the project and you have a full workload. What would you do? As an example, I remember one colleague of mine from Nevada where he or she is unfamiliar of a tool, in this case, SAP, that we are using. The first thing I did was to guide her through the steps and showed her our previous iterations of our project that is using the same tool. This resulted to quite a significant result because we were able to garner around 120% of new users. This way, he or she was able to get exposed and hopefully replicate the previous success. Again, that's you stating the problem, giving the solution that you were already able to experience before, and leading her way to get exposed to those materials and hopefully replicate the previous success that you were able to do. That's already leadership because you're helping someone out and they are now better in doing that same task that you have already forgot. Isip tayo ng ibang examples about leadership situational questions. Say for example that you are running for election. Ayan. And then a certain news site is going to interview you. The question is, your constituents are looking for a park or requesting for a park that they can play in or just stay and relax. How will you implement this situation that you don't have funds and might take time to provide them with a park? Ayan, that's a question. Again, say for example, you are running for an election, tapos someone from ABS, ayan, example, uh, is going to interview you for a certain topic that your constituent asked, which is, kailan sila magkakaroon ng park sa venue nila that everyone can enjoy. However, alam mo sa sarili mo na kulang yung budget and it might take time to build them a park. So how would you answer that question? Ayan, do we have any volunteers? Hanap tayo. Ayan, you can lower down your hand, Marge. And let's have, sino ba? Shadrick Esteban.
Hello po.
There. Can you move closer to your microphone? Let's see.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, there. So, Shadrick, did you get the question?
Please come again po. Masyado.
Ayan. So, Chadrick, imagine that you're running for election and your constituents are asking you to provide them with a park. However, you know well that the funds aren't enough and it will take time to build a park for your constituents. So, how will you answer that question?
So, can say na, paano ba? So I
So
will
gamitin ulit yan yung problem,
problem.
solution, results. Our
So
format.
since we have the problem for the parking, I would suggest that we are uh hire a bus, something like that, a bus for us to lessen the parking, and as a result, we can provide some parking area for those our guests. And yeah, yun lang muna, sir.
Ayan. So dapat the way we answer those kind of situation, just like um Shadrach told us, is by giving them the actual answers. Basically, giving them an idea that the funds are short and that it may take time, right? Uh, and siguro yung last na nakakalimutan lagi is results. You have to drive results. So, in that specific scenario that we gave, medyo mahirap, I know. Ang pwede dyan na results is uh, you tell them, however, even though the funds are scarce, we'll try to find a way to make those needed budget for us to eventually secure funding for that project. So at least there's an eventuality. There's already a result from your inquiry. Yan. 'Di ba? Sobrang hirap, sobrang out of the blue. Minsan nag-iisip talaga kami ng ganyan na mga klaseng tanong just for us uh, um, to gauge your knowledge on situations that you are not familiar with. Kasi it happens in the workplace. Expect the unexpected, ika nga. Ayan, before we proceed with the rest of our session, since I know medyo ano to, medyo madami yung discussions. Let's take a quick pause until 30 9:30. Sige, let's have hindi, sige, ano na, 9:35. Ayan, para you at least have 12 minutes uh, to sip your water or drink. Then by 9:35, let's go back and discuss the rest of the interview guides that we have. Okay ba? Please give me a thumbs up if you're already good to go for a quick break. And I think so. Let's be back at around 9:35. Yeah, is everyone back? Have you guys taken your coffee or had a sip of water? And if you guys are back, just type in the chat back or just give me a thumbs up. All right, perfect. Moving forward to our next few topics, we have team collaboration. In this case, we're trying the recruiters or we, the hiring managers, are looking to gauge your team collaboration skills, basically. Um, in this situation, the question is you're currently on schedule to deliver your portion of a client project. Other members of the team have encountered setbacks and will not meet their deadline without additional support. Your expertise could help them recover, but will likely cause a delay on your deliverable. What would you do in this situation? Babalik tayo sa PSR, problem, solution, results. When I was part of a department on my previous company, I remember a team was struggling to deliver blank and blank results on a weekly and monthly cadences. I know the feeling of frustration. That is why I opted to help out. However, there are other things I was working on for blank and is also due on the same day. The way I did it was to finish my deliverables first and help them afterwards, ensuring that we both meet our goals to deliver significant and positive results before our deadline. Diba? Problem, solution, results. When collaborating with teammates, of course, we wanted to know if you were able to supplement the team's efforts, especially if you know that you can give your all. Because uh, magandang indicator to na you can be helpful amongst other team members. Ayan. So let's say for example, you are asked the same question by the recruiter. Let's call on someone that might have been able to experience the same situation. John Amiel Francisco. Ayan. Imagine I'm the recruiter and ask you about the same question about team collaboration. John? Okay, wala si John. Let's have uh Ernesto. Ernesto, are you there? Guys, can you hear me? Can you give me a thumbs up, everyone? Right. Okay, so mawala si Ernesto. Let's have Erwin. Erwin Banzuela.
Hello?
There, Erwin. So imagine I'm the recruiter and ask you the same question and the screen. Uh, how would you answer during the interview?
Team collaboration. Okay. Back then, when I was working on a government, we are experiencing a huge amount of reports and requests from various people. So we decided to come up that we would divide the task into two groups to finish and help each other to deliver the reports as well as give the clients who are in need of business permits. So in that way, we are able to finish the reports as well as giving business permits to the clients.
Very good. So, uh, Eric, uh, Erwin got the point. He told us that on his previous company experienced the same thing. Basically, it was a government agency. And the solution that he came up was to divide and conquer, right? He divided the task into two teams so that it will flow smoothly because designated people are working on the same project. And if a certain team was not able to meet it, they are going to help out. That way, they were able to deliver significant and positive results at the end. So, reciting the problem, giving the solution, and reaching the results is our format for a better chance of answering the questions that you are not um, prepared to answer. So good, Erwin. No wonder that you got employed as quickly as a few months getting into Go IT. So huge kudos for you, Erwin, since you were able to land a good job, a good opportunity, for you to be provided with the necessary things in your life, right? So it takes practice. So can you give us uh other questions that you were asked during the interview, Erwin, that you feel is really significant up until now, that you still remember it? What was the question and how did you answer the question?
I remember a few. Of course, the strength and weaknesses, the 5 years, where do you see yourself in 5 years, and rate your communication skills. So that that questions really struck on me. I always think the answer to that. First one is, yeah, I just stay calm. And what was was saying again? The first one is,
Sorry, again, Erwin.
so the first one was, what was I was saying? Because I
You
was
forgot
yeah,
what you were saying.
military.
It
Yeah.
sorry.
Uh, just really tired. I forgot what I was saying.
It was about um the question that was asked during the interview.
Mm. Yeah, I remember a few. But anyway, the one that really struck me is the 5-year plan. So I answered it, of course, like a normal person would. I stated that I want to be in this company because I want to gain experience, and I also stated that I see myself being in a position where I become a leader of this company, of course, under the supervision of my boss. And if I'm not a leader, then I would train people who would work on for us. If that didn't happen, I would be an automation engineer for that company, or someone who tests manually as a QA manual engineer. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, Erwin. I may be cutting in and out. You were cut off at QA engineer.
Yeah. So I was stating that I want to be a manual QA engineer for their company in 5 years, of course.
You were already aiming for the higher banded positions, right?
Yes.
You're looking forward. So that's actually a good that's actually a good answer because you're there giving them an outlook in the next 5 years because you know that it will take at least 5 years for you to reach a managerial level position. So from there, the recruiter will in turn have the idea that you will stay for longer because you have commitments on meeting that kind of goal for the next 5 years. So yan. So hopefully you guys were able to learn something from Erwin. He's a good example for us to handle those kind of situations. And syempre, hindi, ano eh, meron pang, I know it's not, it's common, it's a common question for almost everyone to be asked about their strengths and weaknesses. Meron na ba dito naka-experience nung ano, can you tell us more about your weaknesses naman? Meron ba? Wala, nagtataas ang kamay. Usually, um, if you're going to be asked about your weaknesses, dapat ang sasabihin nyo dyan is, uh, ah, so recite again your problem statement. Say for example, your recruiter asks you, what are your weaknesses? My weaknesses are, uh, I had a hard time managing uh, more than five workloads at the same time. However, I was able to meet that weakness of mine by learning a few tips and tricks from uh from a seminar that I attended that helped me organize my stuff. From there, I was able to get on track again and was able to address the situation that resulted to uh, more clients being signed and sales or revenue to flow in. So that's one way for you to answer the weaknesses. You have to answer on the real weakness that you have, but always mention that you've solutioned already that problem that exists before, and as a result, it is no longer existing and was actually even transformed into a better situation. So again, the format usually is your problem. Uh, you provide the solution, and at the end, you gain results. On our seventh or one of the last guide would be communication. So the question there was, you have been asked to share your vision for a new solution with senior leadership to gain their buy-in and secure funding for moving forward. How would you ensure your communication is effective? From there, again, problem, solution, results. When I handled a project wherein my vision was to implement a process that greatly impacted our SLAs and KPIs, I was excited to share it with the leadership and the rest of the team. I showcased the capabilities of our new tool and the resulting trends by a significant amount of more than 80% to or and 100% improvement. On top of my presentation, I also included other communication platforms that helped me reach out to everyone effectively and certainly. Basically, nagawa niya yung bagong process and was able to even communicate it to a broader audience, sharing the information that you were able to establish, as well as getting your teammates more involved in the situation that you're in, di ba? Interconnected yung mga questions usually. It's situational because it happens in the office, and that's one of the reasons why we try to create this kind of guide questions. And lastly, of course, about growth. Since we've discussed earlier about Erwin's success during the interview and was able to look forward after 5 years, that's one of the questions about growth. In this case, as our example is, your manager has given you a few stretch assignments that will require you to independently learn both knowledge and skills. How do you acquire and apply the knowledge and skills? So, problem, solution, results. I remember when I was given an assignment to handle the QA team and help out my previous manager, told me that it could help me develop as leadership and communication skills that could potentially help my career move forward. Even before I finished the project, I made sure that I keep track of all the things I was doing, such as team management, reporting, and analytics. This helped me retain knowledge from the exposure. Now, I'm currently planning on taking more special projects and attend trainings that may help me in the future tasks and if given a chance when leading a team. Basically, I got exposed to a lot of stretch assignments that was able to expand my horizons. I was able to understand more situations as well as problems that I can resolve. From there, it was given that I gained some skill sets that would eventually warrant me a promotion in the future. So, ganon yung growth. It would always have to be exponential and it revolves around you. How will you develop yourself, your skills, and also your strengths into play so that you will be given an opportunity for other positions or to join a certain department or position that you've been eyeing. That's our last topic for uh the guide. I will also send this to the group so that you guys can review and look back on how to answer the interviews, especially if you're having issues um on finding a way to communicate during the interview. This will help you at least have a better view of how to answer those, and hopefully in the future we'll see you in the floors. Opening now our session to questions that you may want to be clarified so that I can give you right away uh, um, a simple coaching of how to answer those. While we're waiting for volunteers to ask some questions, I've sent in the chat a tracker that you can use, guys, for you to monitor your own results uh, fa- during the entire session. Actually, your entire stay here in Go IT, because we wanted to know how you are making progress and were you able to meet your target or your target company or target position while still enrolled in Go IT. Ayan, do we have questions about um how uh how to answer interviews? Please raise your hand. Ayan, you have 7 minutes left from ending the session. Okay, I hope you guys were able to gain some knowledge from our session. I will send the same presentation to you guys on a different format via Slack. So please visit Slack, download Slack so that you can reach out to me as well as other of our colleagues in Go IT to help you move forward with your career. With that being said, thank you everyone for joining today's call. I will give you the gift of time. You have 6 minutes still left, and hopefully you will take this time to download the Slack app because I will be sending the interview tips and tricks and also interview guidelines and answers when you are applying for a job right after your graduation. I think you've already graduated, guys. So I hope this set of guide will help you get hired much more quickly and gain the salary that you're really dreaming of. Again, everyone, thank you for joining today's call. Again, I'm Carl. If you need me, if you have questions or things that wanted to run by me, especially how to look for an opportunity, what sites, where and what site should I visit, please feel free to ask me via Slack or via email. Thank you again, everyone, for attending today's call. That's it. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Sir Carl.
Thank you, team.
Thank you. Good night.